Hi, Dr. Patrick Gentempo here, and thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel. We have great content in store for you. I'm so excited to be here with you, and let's jump right into it. Is there a part of it that's around de-escalation also, maybe like, being under extraordinary stress and maybe trying to diffuse as compared to react?
So the model that we always taught was, first thing is identification. So if I'm going to spend any time doing anything, I'm going to start with situational awareness, because having a skill set of shooting is the absolute last thing you're going to do. But that's where people spend most of their time. So they're actually spending most of their time on the things that's the least likely to happen. And being able to identify your environment, identify threats, and then make appropriate choices in that is much more important. So situational awareness starts. So identify and avoid. The next thing is mitigate. So that's what you're talking about with de-escalation. How do I, one, identify a threat and create distance before they even come near me, situational awareness. If I can't avoid, I need to mitigate. So now that the threat is closer to me, how do I de-escalate that point? How do I interact with that so that I don't have to resort to physical space? The next thing is get away, right? So if I identify, they got too close, I've tried to mitigate, I can't. The next thing is barricade and avoid. What do I put in between me and them, and how the hell do I get away? Run away first.
Right.
And then only then, so we're 5 steps into this, do we actually ready a defensive weapon and then use it to deter the threat first, right? Now that I have a lethal threat, deter, then and only then, if they're a lethal threat, do I engage.
You know, what's interesting is so many people talk about, oh, I've got guns, I've got ammo, I go to the range, et cetera. But through what you just described, it really becomes apparent that hey, there's a sequence, and hopefully you're never gonna get to the point where you got to use the gun. And it doesn't seem like all that training before there, as you said, the on-ramps aren't.
Most people don't, right? So if we look at everything I just said, how much of it is solved by going to the range and shooting? Less than 10%. So people are training 10% of the overall solution. And the 90% is what keeps you from ever using the 10%, which is what you always want to do. Because anytime you have to then go to lethal threat or lethal force, you're in a bad situation, just like a SEAL, right? We never wanted to shoot, so we stacked the deck in our favor all the time, so that we either had such overwhelming force that they gave up, or they never saw us coming.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Really interesting. I harken back to a lot of martial arts training I did in my youth, and I remember because you train on different things, but then what they would do to solidify it is they put us in a circle with 6 guys around you with a blindfold on, and now the heart's racing because you're gonna get attacked. You know where it's coming from, and you have to be able to react in a very high stress situation. So when you're just training on it, it's one thing, but when you're put into the high stress situation, or in a black belt test when it's a real knife that they're using, to come at you with, as compared to a wooden knife when you're training, it's it changes the whole experience in a way that. If you don't do that training, I think you're right. You're probably maybe overconfident and underprepared.
That's the majority of people that we interacted with, and those were enthusiasts. If you take someone that's not even an enthusiast, and it's for me to stress more. I can't stress enough that if you put a lot of effort in those first 3-4 steps, the likelihood of ever having to resort to the last step of lethal force is next to nothing. At this point, I'm 44 years old. I've never been in a fight. Why? Because I've avoided every one of them. I could win at almost any fight that I would get into, but for me, the identification and avoidance keeps me and my family safe from not only the real threat, but the litigation that's going to come in our society if you do engage in that.
Right. Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.